Hello again, everyone. Today we are discussing 3 more Crown Royal products. When I initially came up with the concept of doing this little blog, I didn't intend to necessarily discuss the Crown Royal line specifically and exclusively, but since the first whiskey I discussed was the XO, I figured it was only appropriate to kind of continue with that line of products. So today we have 3 more Crown Royal products. We have, no particular order, Crown Royal Maple, Crown Royal Black, and finally Crown Royal Reserve, formerly Special Reserve, same product, just remarketed. I'm not going to get into too much of the Crown Royal brand and its history. But I will briefly discuss where these products came from, where they stand in terms of the line in general, and obviously my thoughts about each whiskey. In 2010, the Black and Maple were launched by Diageo. Maple is kind of Crown Royal's first dabbling into the flavored whiskey market, which has since really boomed across several other distilleries across the world. This is their first venture into that and has done really, really well. Black also is Crown Royal or Diageo's reaction, if you will, to the black phenomena that you find in, Jack Daniels and bourbons and other whiskeys, Irish, you name it, Bushmills. Everyone has a black product. This is Crown Royal's. The Reserve was actually launched in 1992, and to my knowledge is the first, branching off of the traditional Crown Royal whiskey, and is a great value. We'll get into that momentarily. First, let's discuss the Black product. Launched in 2010. This is what your bag looks like. Very, very similar to the usuals, but just black. And the description is as follows: a robust whiskey blend matured to perfection in charred oak barrels and blended at a higher proof for full-bodied flavor. With its deep bourbon notes, rich texture, and signature smoothness, this can only be a Crown Royal whiskey. Description sounds great. I'm all for robust and bourbon influence and all of that. However, at the end of the day, in my opinion, when you get to the tasting, it doesn't quite live up to that description. Side note on the whiskey, while I try to manage to open this guy, is it is the only whiskey in the Crown Royal family that deviates from that 80 proof percentage of alcohol. It's actually a 90 proof guy, so it does pack a little bit more of a punch. But like I said, as we'll discuss momentarily, doesn't necessarily mean it's a better whiskey. If you can take a look at the bottles right off the top of them, much, much darker product. Pour a dram of the Black. Yeah, absolutely. Much more of a mahogany, almost very dark gold mahogany color. Very, looks like a nice aged rum. And let's go ahead and move forward with the maple. I'm just going to pour all these and then we'll discuss the nose and the taste and all that good stuff. Maple's bag, kind of a chocolatey brown. Much more lighter color, much more of a traditional Crown Royal color. This description reads: an extraordinary blend created by adding a hint of natural maple flavor to the complementary legendary taste of Crown Royal. Our master blender discovered that finishing our celebrated whiskey with maple toasted oak results in a uniquely smooth experience. Unique, I think, is an absolutely spot-on description. Smooth, depends on who you're asking. And we'll get into that review here momentarily as well. Another very small dram of that guy. And lastly, the Reserve. Here's your bottle again of that. The bottle is very similar to the Cask number 16, actually, with a different cap and all that. Quick twist off cap's a little bigger. This just says, the fine whiskey is my gift of appreciation to all the Crown Royal enthusiasts. And on the box of this one, which I didn't bring into the room here, it actually goes over the fact that it's hand-picked by the master distiller, master blender, and it's supposedly the top 1% of the Crown Royal whiskey in the barrels. Pour this dram here. See, this guy is a very much typical in terms of the Crown. Almost very, very similar to the whiskey in terms of the look in the glass. And we'll put these aside. Wouldn't want to block your view. And here we go. We'll start with the black. Right off the top, you are getting much more in terms of nose. Rum influence is absolutely apparent. Although they don't really advertise that's apparent, it is. The caramel note is there. A little bit of woodiness. The woodiness is something that you would see in a bourbon. Almost a buttery scotch, which all sounds great. Let's give it a shot. Yeah, to me, the black is a nice product. It's very agreeable. It goes down relatively smooth. However, it doesn't taste like a Canadian whiskey to me at all. It definitely tastes like almost, an Appleton's rum and a Irish or Scotch blended and created this hybrid that would be Crown Royal Black. It doesn't taste Canadian whiskey to me. Really nice legs, however, when I look at the glass. I mean, it's definitely shows some significant aging, which is nice to see in your spirit. But not my favorite. I'm in the minority here. It seems to do really, really well. Not my favorite whiskey. Cleanse the palate here. On a positive note, it's done really well sales-wise. It's very affordable. I think I'm looking at about 30 to 35 bucks for a fifth of that. But again, on a 1 to 10, if we're talking Canadian whiskey, I'm giving it a 5. Giving it a 5. It would go great with Coke, but I'd rather not drink it clean or neat. Cleanse the palate again. I'm gonna step out of line here and actually go Reserve next, just because the maple is so unique. I don't want to really screw my palate up a bit, but again, supposedly this is the top 1% of the batch is distilled by Crown Royal. And this just has a wonderful, wonderful nose. Picking up fruity, nutty, charred, toffee, maybe a little bit of a pepper, nutmeggish. Nutmeggish, I don't know if that's a word, but I just used it, so roll with it. Let's give this one a shot. Really nice, really nice. As you probably know, I have tasted all of these before, so this isn't my first encounter into any of these. So I am a bit skewed and maybe a little bit biased, but man, that's a really, really nice whiskey. Price point on this is between, 40 and 50 bucks, depending on where you're at in the country. It does come in a nice gold bag. I didn't bring that up. Really nice gold bag with like a CR, not the whole Crown Royal like the other ones. Yeah, I'm catching everything that you catch in the nose and the aroma on the mouth. I wouldn't describe it as creamy, but I would describe it as complex. I'm definitely getting the age. And what's nice is it's one of those whiskeys where every time you taste it, you pick up something maybe you didn't pick up last time. Really nice, very agreeable. I'm going to give that a 7.5. Good whiskey, good gift. Cleanse the palate again. Next, we delve into what I call Crown's syrup whiskey, or syrup whiskey, however you want to pronounce that. But again, very similar color. It almost looks very like viscousy, you know, like almost oily, which could be a good thing if it was produced naturally, but I feel like it was just infused with so much sugar and so much artificial flavoring that it's not necessarily appetizing to me. But again, that's my personal preference. The nose is just overwhelming in terms of the maple flavor. I mean, it smells like you're just smelling out of an Aunt Jemima bottle or log cabin, whatever your maple syrup choice is. On the palate, yeah. I mean, there's really no other way to describe the maple other than overpoweringly maple. That's exactly what it is. I think that's what they're trying to market. I think that if you are someone who is looking for a very smooth, maybe a beginner's whiskey, I think Crown Maple would be perfect for that. Really nice over rocks, kind of cut the thickness of the product out a bit. You know, again, perfect for someone who isn't into your scotches and your single malts and your complex whiskeys. Maybe someone who needs a little bit of extra sweetness in your product. It's very nice. And I can have a glass of it. I enjoy the product. But it's not something I would want to drink all night. That's for sure. I'm going to go ahead and skip the regular Crown Deluxe because I think if you're watching this video, most likely you've had that product. So there's no need for me to beat a dead horse. Very nice. I don't have a problem with it at all. I ordered it on the rocks. One of my bars that don't have a wide whiskey selection. The maple, you know what? I'm going to give the maple a 6.5. Very nice, very agreeable. Not much in terms of the personality. You're getting the same thing every time you taste it, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Next review, we will finish up the Crown Royal line. I will discuss Crown Royal Limited Edition, which is only available in Canada. And then I'll also review the Crown Royal XR at the very top of the brand. That is the blue label, the LaSalle distillery, not the red, the Waterloo, the blue, the LaSalle. And we'll discuss what I mean by that next time. Thanks again, and we'll see you soon.